Hello guys. All right, here's your tutorial for the classic Easter set. So just a couple of things about what's in your kit. So you have your big white, you have all of the colors that you'll need. There are two pinks. One of them is thicker to be able to do the detailed outlines, and so it has tulle wrapped around it because it's hard to tell in the bags which one is the thicker consistency pink. So the one with the tulle around it is the thicker one. You have your grass sprinkles, your little egg sprinkles, your scribe, your baby white and black, and I gave you one bunny. I did one for you. You have to do one by yourself for your little eggs. You can do both of them by yourself, but I decided to send one for you. So those are the things you have in your kit. And then you have your cookies. So let's go through those really fast. So you're going to have 4 eggs this shape and 2 that are hollow. So take your hollow ones and see which of your other eggs the size matches up best on. This one, it's hard to tell from the front, but the one with holes spread a lot bigger than the other one. So this one fits better. So I'm gonna match up my one with the hole with an egg, and you have 2, I only have 1. And then your other 2 will be your plain eggs. So you have those, and then you have a frame, a cross, and 2 bunnies. I only have 1. All right, and our finished products are going to look like this. Our little bunny, our happy Easter, and our cross. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so you're going to need some scissors too to cut your bags open. So the first thing you should do is give your bags a little massage. This one I did already cut open accidentally, sorry. But your white, you are going to cut, let me see, about that big. This is going to be a good size cut for our outlining, but we are going to cut our others a little bit smaller because we're going to do the stripes on our eggs first, and we need a fine opening for that. So your big white for outlining, you're going to cut fairly big, and since I already cut it, I'll show you when we recut the others. Okay, so all of these, so this is my little pink, not the one with the tulle on it, the regular consistency. And this one we're going to need to flood with. I'm sorry, my hands have like icing everywhere. The pink and the blue, so I want to show you, I'm just cutting about that much off. And so the line thickness that it should make is a pretty thin line. Okay. So you're going to cut all of your small ones about that thick. I'll do one more just so you can see. Our pink and our blue, we're actually going to cut bigger to flood a little bit later. So you can see I'm cutting just a little snip off. And I usually do a line to see if I cut it. Oh, see, like I cut this one too thin. My line is super thin. I'm going to cut it a little bit bigger. You just want them to be all about the same. And if you cut it too big, it's okay. I hope I didn't do that off frame. I'm going to do one more because I wasn't watching. I'm sorry. Okay, so our yellow. About there. Okay, looks good. All right. You might also want to have a paper towel. Okay, I'm gonna cut the rest of mine open. I'm doing them all that same small length. Okay, we're back. So you're going to get your 2 eggs that are not our little double vignette eggs, our other ones. So these are the first ones that we're going to do. So we're going to take our white and we're going to outline these. When you outline, you want to get close to the edge, but not so close that you can't pick it up and give it a little shake to smooth down your icing. So I am pretty close to the edge, but I am able to grab it here on the sides to be able to shake it without ruining my outline. So, okay, do that on both of your eggs. And then we're going to get our 2 top layers as well. And we're going to outline these, not the bottom layers of our vignettes, only the tops. Okay, and the inside, we're gonna do that too. This one, it's a little bit tricky to get close to it without it wanting to run down the side. If you get too close, it's gonna wanna kind of hang over and run down. We are going to add this little piped border around these eventually. So if this outline is a little bit messy, don't worry about it. Okay, we're gonna cover it. You can see mine is not perfect up here. I'm not gonna scrape it because you're only allowed to scrape it once, right? I don't wanna blow my scrape on this. Okay, so we're gonna let our outlines dry for just, 30 seconds, a minute. And we just need it to be firm enough that it will hold back our flood. Okay, so I'm gonna scooch this one out of the way. Now I'm gonna flood this, and you can cut the hole a little bit bigger in your white if you need to, so that you can flood a little bit faster. I'm gonna try to tell you guys this when you pick up your kits later too, but we were not able to get our normal bags that we usually use. We had to order different bags with everything going on. They just weren't available and we ran out. So we have a different type of bag and they're a little bit thinner. So it doesn't seem to be a problem on the smaller icing, but the bigger one, like your big white, I am going to double bag just so that they don't, I'm a little bit worried that they might burst. And so I apologize for that. Don't be scared. I'm going to double bag it so that that won't be an issue for you, but I'm gonna try to remember to tell you that when you're here too. Okay, beautiful. All right, now we're going to grab our colors. I like to go in rainbow order, but you can go in any order you want. And we're just going to start doing stripes. So I'm gonna start with my pink, and I can kind of guess where the next pink will be, or I can just go in order. And as long as you work fairly fast, you'll be okay. And I also apologize for my dogs barking in advance if they do. If they already did and I didn't even notice, I'm sorry. I usually get rid of them for tutorials, but they had to stay today. Okay, so I made it through my color spectrum, so I'm gonna start over. And I'm doing my lines pretty close together. You can do them a little wider if you want. There won't be as many. Now we do need to hustle a little bit because we are going to drag through this with our scribe. So don't have to super hurry, but don't get distracted in the middle of doing your little lines. Okay, so now we're going to take our scribe and we're going to start at the top middle and we're going to drag a line down, and mine is already starting to dry. There we go, this is a little bit better. Do a little step to the left, a little step to the right. So we're doing 3 drags down. Then I'm going to go in between those drags and drag up. And then we're going to give it a little shake. Some little taps. And that's our egg. Okay, so we're gonna let this guy dry for a while and do your other egg like this next. So do both of those. Then you're going to do both of these. Now I'm going to show you on the finished one again. On this one, I just did stripes. I didn't drag them because it's such little spaces. I did one first and drug it, and it looked really weird just because it was only little tiny areas showing the drag. So I decided to just go for stripes on my final one. It's up to you if you want to do it more like this one and try to drag those stripes into it, you can. If you want to just do stripes, you can, but I am going to choose to just do stripes. Okay, so we basically work this one the same way, except that when we add our stripes, we're gonna be jumping over a big space now. And I would say the biggest challenge people have when they're doing stripes that have a separation in the middle, which happens sometimes on little frame cookies that we do too, is you'll end up putting your stripes way too high on one side and way too low on the other side, and it looks very weird. So that will be kind of your goal, is to keep those stripes going level. Okay, I was very close to my edge, so I'm gonna actually use my pokey thing to shake this. I'm gonna just kind of stab my cookie and hold it with this. That way I can shake it without having to pick it up. And then I just kind of tap those marks down. Okay, and we're gonna do our stripes again. So try to have it kind of as straight up and down as you can. Our first few are gonna be easy. Oh no! Okay, sorry, the dog barked through me. Hold on, I'm gonna start this. Okay, sorry, I had to pause. I had a little emergency. I dropped my icing. My dog barked and startled me, and I dropped it onto the cookie. So I kind of scraped apart and did a little repair. So you can see I've got some messy edges now, but they're gonna get covered when we do the little pipe, so I'm not worried about it. Okay, so back to doing our little lines. Okay. Pink. Orange. So if you don't know the color spectrum, would be red, orange, yellow, green. We don't have red, so we're using pink. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and then we're not using indigo, and then purple. All right, so green. Now is where you need to be careful that your lines don't get crazy when you jump across this little space. So you want to just try to always kind of look across. I would say what generally happens is people start to go downward angle and then they keep it straight on this side. So one side always ends up looking straight and one is tilted. So that's what you want to watch out for. Just try to keep them even and level. Getting closer. Yay. All right, so if your lines match up when you connect back through, you get to give a little celebratory yay, as I just did. Okay. Okay, so done with that. And go ahead and do your other one as well. Okay, so we have our other egg. Now this is the bottom that's going to go as the base in this, behind that little opening egg. So we're going to do it blue with kind of clouds in the background. So that's what I'm going to show you first. And you can see, I don't know if you can see, I did do blue for the whole base. I added in the grass later. So our blue has our very tiny openings to do all of our stripes. We're done with our stripes now. So I'm going to cut this a little bit bigger to be about the same size opening as my white, so that I can outline and flood it a little bit faster. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry for a second. I'm also going to cut my pink. This is not the tulle pink. Still, this is my other pink I just used for stripes. I'm gonna cut that one open a little bit bigger as well, because we're gonna use that one to outline and flood too. So just cut a little bit bigger of a chunk off. I think those are the only two that we needed to cut a little bit. Yes, okay. All right, so let's go ahead and flood our blue. And the opening in this is still pretty small. If you wanted to cut yours bigger, you can. I think I will actually. I normally might just squeeze harder But like I said, these bags are a little bit thinner and I don't quite trust them as much as normal. So I'm gonna cut my hole a little bit bigger instead. Okay. Once it's flooded with blue, you're gonna grab your white. You can give it a little shake if you want to. You don't really have to because we're going to mess it up in a second and then shake it after that. Okay, so we're going to do some clouds. So clouds are really fun. So what you're gonna do is just kind of make some random blobs. Okay, see my random blobs? Now you're gonna take your scribe or your pokey thing and you're just going to start kind of making some little spirals and smooshing them around. Do over here. I like to kind of pull up a little bit so that I give my clouds a little bit of height. And you can do little spirals, you can do pulling back and forth a little bit. It's just gonna look like messy, wispy clouds in the end. And just do as many as you think looks good. This is something too that in the moment you might think that looks horrible, but in the end it all comes together. Okay, now while this is wet, we're going to pick up our top one and we're gonna try to line it up carefully and we're just gonna set it on here. I'm not gonna push it down and squeeze it like a sandwich. It's going to kind of sink in a little bit by itself because that blue is wet. It might squeeze out a little bit on the sides, but as long as you just don't touch it right now, all of that squeezing is going to just help to lock it in place that it's gonna do on its own. If you press it down, you're gonna end up with blue oozing out of your sides and you won't have a clean look on your inside edges like we're going for. So you want to just set it down and then leave it alone. So we're gonna let that dry now. Okay. All right, so let's do our two bunnies next. So our bunnies are gonna just be really cute little simple bunnies. So when you outline it, there are two parts that this ear and this back leg that are going to get outlined a little bit differently. The rest of it is just the shape of the cookie. So we're gonna do those two parts first. So this ear, we're gonna go down the side. We're going to go up and kind of imagine we can see the whole ear. Okay, so that's the first step of that. Now from there, we're going to come out and do our little bunny's face. Come down and around, and I'm gonna stop right there. It's barely a difference in the cookie, but you should be able to see there's like a little bit of a dip in the cookie right there. Okay, so now I'm gonna jump up to about 2/3 of the way up, and I'm going to outline a little hip and come back. And then around that bottom leg, I'm sorry, my evil wiener dogs. We just go back up. And then we're gonna finish it off by doing this back ear. All right, so go ahead and outline your other bunny. And come back. I'm gonna let my bunny dry for a second. You outline your other one. And then let's go ahead and outline our frame and our cross as well. Okay, so I cut my pink a little bit bigger so that I could do my outline here too. So the cross is an easy outline, just go around the shape. I usually start on an inside corner. All right, we'll let that dry. That's an easy one. Okay, our frame, this one's pretty easy too, but you do have to kind of envision a stripe across the middle that goes from this half circle to this half circle. So I'm going to go around my circle, this is with pink, go straight across to the other circle, and come back to where you started. So you kind of have to envision that line across the middle. After you do that, you're just going to finish outlining the top and the bottom. All right, let's jump back to our bunnies. Okay, so when you flood right here on your bunny, you don't want to flood so thick that it overflows that line and jumps it. We want to keep it kind of, I don't want to say thin, but under control here. So I'm going to do it normal, but I'm going to make sure that I am just like barely touching that outline and not really building the icing up beside that outline a lot, because I don't want to lose the outline of that hip and leg. Same thing down here. So I'm flooding the whole thing. I'm just being really careful around those lines where we're flooding on both sides of the line. So right here too. Everywhere else you don't really need to be as careful. And this back ear, you can either wait until this dries a little bit and then flood your back ear, or again, just be very careful as you're beside that outline that you don't overflow it and go into the neighboring area. Then you'll keep all your cute little separations. Okay, now while it's wet, we're going to add the middle of this ear. The back ear is facing the other way, so we don't see the little pink middle. We only see this side. All right. And our bunny, we're gonna let dry for a while. He's done for right now. Not done all the way, but done for now. Okay, our cross is just pink with white polka dots on it. This is another cookie. I'm cutting my opening even a little bit bigger to do my flood like I did the blue. Another one where you have a chance to do it differently if you want to. You don't have to do polka dots. You could do your stripes. Again, like we did this egg, you could do your cross like that if you wanted. You could do it a different color instead of pink. You have plenty of all of your colors. If you wanted to give it polka dots with all of your colors, it's all up to you. Whatever makes your little heart happy. But I'm gonna do mine pink with white polka dots. Okay, polka dot spacing. Let's talk about it. Let's do this. Okay, so from decorating many, many, many of these, I have found that if you do 2 dots on all of your ends, okay, and then do kind of a bundle of 4 in the center, then you only have to do 1 more set of 2 here, and then just fill in the middles of all those little groups that we just made. And it will give you fairly evenly spaced polka dots. If you need to back up and watch that advice again, you can. But if you also are not as anal as me and you don't care if your polka dots are spaced evenly, then don't worry about it. Do you? Okay, so let's let our cross dry. And our frame. Okay, so we're going to do our top and bottom, pink with white polka dots again. The center we're going to do white, and instead of doing it right away, I think I'm gonna wait, because this one does have my pink outline is pretty thin, and I don't know that I could do my white without it overflowing. So I'm gonna wait on it a little bit. Okay, so here's my trick on these. So I do 1 up in this little bonus space and 1 down here, right by the edge. Okay, then I go all the way to the edge and 1 in between. So these are a little bit skinnier dots, all the way to the edge, and then 1 in between. And then I go up and in between on each of these. Like so. Okay, so I've been letting this one dry for a second. I took a little break, and I'm going to flood the center with white. Sorry, my dog is choking. She's fine, I'm sure. Okay. Okay, looks good. Let's let it dry off to the side. Okay, we're going to jump back to our 2 eggs. You have 2 that are pretty in the middle. We're going to now take our pink that has the tulle on it, and we're gonna cut. And we're gonna cut this opening pretty big, like about the same size that we did our white for outlining. This one does not need to be a teeny tiny opening, because we're gonna squeeze pretty hard. Okay, so we're going to make our little flower bundle in the middle of this egg. So we are just making a little spiral. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see. We're gonna do it again. We're making 3 flowers. There we go. So as you can see on the example, I used my little white and made a second spiral because my pink didn't hold its shape very well. This pink is holding its shape pretty well, so I'm not going to do that on these, but if you like the look of that, you're just gonna use your baby white and draw another little spiral on the top. Okay, so we've got that, and then we're gonna take our green and we're just gonna pump out a little bead and then pull it. We're gonna do that in between each of our flowers. Okay, like that. Okay, we're going to do the inside of our little vignette egg now. It's very exciting. Okay, so get your little grass sprinkles ready, your little egg sprinkles. Ah, just knocked a lot of my eggs everywhere. And we're going to start by taking our green icing and we're just going to flood, not really flood, just kind of squeeze out a base. Now our blue is still a little bit wet, so you do want to be careful when you sprinkle your grass that you try to make sure you keep it all in your green area. If you drop it up onto your blue, you'll have a little bit of time to kind of move it, but it's probably going to want to stick to your blue because our blue's still tacky. Okay, so as you can see, I don't know if you can see, but it did get a little bit up here, right there. I'm just gonna scoot it down a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to put some eggs down here. Sorry, I was just trying to think. Hold on. Okay, so now we're going to make our little bunny. So again, I gave you one bunny. So if you're using the one I made for you, you're just going to put a little icing on the back of it, like glue, not a ton. And then you're just going to put him in place and kind of tap him down gently. But I want to show you how to make one. So you're going to use your white, and we're going to just make an oval body and fill it in. Okay, then we're going to do one ear up and kind of angled back, and a second ear angled a little bit more up and down. It's still a little bit sideways, but not fully. And then we're going to take our pink and just make a little stripe. Okay, now we're going to set this aside for a while and let it dry, and then we'll add the head on. We can't do it now or it's just going to sink right into the body. So pause your bunny and let's move back over to our big bunny. Okay, so on your big bunny now, you're gonna take your little white, your little black, and your pink. So the first thing we're gonna do, again, these little ones, I cut the opening in my little black very little. Make sure that it's not clogged before you use it. Okay, so we are going to, with our little black, give our bunny a little cute closed eye. With our little white, we're gonna do 2 whiskers. So I just kind of choose 2 starting points and pull them both toward the nose. I'm gonna take my big white and just pump out a big bead for the tail. Use your regular pink, not our thick pink. Give it a little nose. I didn't do any sort of line for the front leg on the picture I was looking at to make it, they didn't have anything. I'm gonna make it on this just so we can see what it looks like, see if you like it. So I think I would just use my baby white and add a little line right there. So if you like it with a little front leg, you can add it in. If not, just leave it. Okay, now we're gonna take our thick pink again, the one with the tulle tied on it, and we're going to put a little flower bundle here. So this is the same flower bundle that we made on our eggs, our rainbow eggs. I'm doing it just a little bit smaller on our bunny. And he's done. Very cute. Okay, so finish your other bunny. Your other big white bunny, not your rainbow egg bunny. Okay, let's jump over to our cross. And our cross, we have 2 things to do. So first, I'm gonna take my little white again, and we are going to make a loop from the center up to the top. I'm gonna do another one down to the bottom. And then we're going to do 2 to the sides. Ta-da, like that. And then we're going to take our thick pink and we're just gonna make one flower a little bit bigger in the middle here, and then just choose 2 spots for leaves. There you go. And your cross is done. Okay. All we are doing on our frame now is you can write whatever you want. If you want a name, if you want Happy Easter, He is risen, Happy Quarantine, whatever you'd like to do in this section, or your kids' names, whatever. So whatever Easter message you want to write, we have our yellow that we have not cut any bigger, and so we're gonna write. Okay, so I am going to write Happy Easter on mine. You can practice writing first on a paper towel or on your table or a piece of paper. Practice it in print and in cursive. I usually find that cursive is a little bit easier. And if you like, I have a little more space here. This is just a tip to my other perfectionists. I'm going to curl my R, the end of my R, up just so that I don't have extra space on one end and they end up being even. Okay. All right, that one's done. We're gonna jump. Oh wait, no, this one's not done. I lied. So get your pink with the tulle on it again. And we're gonna make our flower right here on the top. There we go. And a little leaf, like so. Okay, now it's done. All right, jumping back to our little bunny. Okay, so we made his body and his ears. Now we're gonna make a little head. And with the head, we're going to kind of cover where both of those ears touch the body. And it's like a little bit of a sideways oval. Okay, and we're gonna let that dry for a second now here too. Now I have my little eggs that, now that I have the body of the bunny in, I can place my little eggs around. There's 4 colors. I think I put 3 in the example just because I liked the look of 3 better, but you can put all that you want. I put a lot extra in there, so if you want tons of eggs, go for it. So I'm just gonna put a little dot of green where I'm going to stick my eggs just to help them stay down. And then I'm tapping them down a little bit, get them to hold on. There we go. Okay, while my bunny face dries, I'm going to add the border around the outside and inside. So here's how we do it. I'm gonna zoom in so you can see. So I'll start right here. Okay. All right, so you're just going to kind of pipe out a big lump and then pull forward a little. And then another bead and pull, bead, pull, bead, pull, bead, pull. And you're just gonna keep going like that all the way around. I'm gonna zoom back out. This is another thing that if you wanna practice on a paper towel or something first. So you just do kind of a big squeeze and then pull a little. Squeeze, pull. You're gonna do it all the way around. And when I try to go up doing this, it ends up looking a little weird. So instead of trying to keep it going, I'm gonna turn my cookie. And just kind of go over that last one. And now you're gonna do the same thing around the inside. And this icing, because it's thicker, our little Pink With tool, it's not going to drip down the inside edge like our regular icing would. So we don't have to be quite as careful with it. It can be right on that edge and it's not gonna fall. Okay. So now we have our little border done. We're gonna add a little flower bundle here up in the corner. So I'm gonna do 3. And just add a leaf there and a leaf there. Maybe a little leaf there. Okay, let's finish our little bunny. His face should be dry now. And all we're going to add is one little eye about there. And you can use your regular pink or your thicker pink. It doesn't really matter. I think I'm gonna use my thick pink because I cut the hole a lot bigger in my runny pink right now. Okay, and oh, he needs a little tail too. This little fluffy tail. All right, there you go. And your set is done. Good job. I hope you guys had fun.